Hello everyone, my name is Jerry Ann Nettles and I'm here to present the STARS Prevention Program. STARS is a child abuse and neglect intervention and prevention program. So what is child maltreatment? Well, it's detailed on your worksheet, but overall it's the physical abuse, neglect, sexual abuse, or emotional abuse of a child. The most common types of maltreatment are neglect and physical abuse. In 2016, the Department of Health and Human Services described child maltreatment in the United States as 672,000 children experiencing child maltreatment. That means that 9 out of every 1,000 children were maltreated. Children who experience maltreatment have an increased risk for developing adverse childhood experiences. That's why it's important to address child maltreatment, because it just sort of perpetuates the cycle of chronic illness, of intergenerational abuse, of socioeconomic problems, social and emotional impairment, alcohol and drug abuse, and early death. So STARS stands for Stimulation, Therapeutic, and Reinforcement Services, and they are for the prevention of child maltreatment. It begins with an assessment of the parent. If that parent is found to have a risk for abuse or neglect, they are referred to the STARS Parent Support Program. So the STARS program starts with simulation, and it moves into therapeutic services such as CBT, and then it follows with reinforcement in-home visits, and then social supports. Who can participate in STARS? Anyone. It can be a parent who just wants to know more about being a better parent, or it can be a parent who is currently working with Children's Protective Services. So simulation is the first step in the STARS program, and it's based on the fact that early attachment is the key component in creating parents who are sensitive to their children's needs. Myers tells us that. Also, simulation practices for the prevention of child maltreatment have shown in the past to equip parents to be better, or to have more positive responses to their children's needs. So what happens is, the more knowledge a parent has about positive parent-child-infant interaction, the reduced risk of child maltreatment. Simulation begins with 18 weeks of role modeling by a qualified therapist who shows positive responses for parent-infant-child interaction, proper care for essential needs, and establishing home safety. Parents engage in real-time and video simulations which depict positive parenting skills. For example, an infant that is uncontrollably crying might be one of the simulations, and the therapist or the program leader will monitor that response and provide feedback. And that feedback is generally followed up with some motivational interviewing and cognitive behavioral therapy. So the therapist will stop the process and intervene with that CBT to sort of question those beliefs and attitudes about the process and what just happened in that simulation. Sometimes it can happen because a risk of child maltreatment has been detected within the simulation. A parent identifies a trigger that was maybe from their childhood, or just a trigger within their own parenting, or the parent just has a question or concern. During that simulation, though, parents are supported by program trainers. So the CBT is implemented into the simulation and into the role modeling like we just discussed. So CBT teaches parents how to play with their children, how to assess, or it helps to assess parents' attitudes and beliefs about physical discipline, and it helps to provide feedback to those parents about those attitudes and those beliefs, and it provides empirical information about physical discipline. CBT is used to teach parents how to understand their children's developmental stage, and to really more so to address the thoughts and behaviors that the parent has about a child and their developmental stage and what they're capable of doing at that stage. It helps to put up barriers to neglect. And then CBT for teaching parents how to manage a child's maladaptive behavior. So it teaches active listening, and it encourages desired behaviors such as praise and rewards. And then support groups. Support groups are important. According to Gladstone, McKeever, and Seaman, child maltreatment parenting support groups bring people with similar experiences together in order to discuss the challenges of parenting, to talk about those coping skills, so that the parent feels less isolated, less judged. Reduction of stress and anxiety is an important part of a support group. The most important part of the support group, however, is the increased motivation to manage parenting skills. If a parent is willing to continue managing those skills or has the motivation to keep learning, that's a good thing. As a sidebar to the program, there is an added element that's not necessarily appropriate for everyone, but is for many who might participate in the program. The social learning theory tells us that the behaviors are shaped by experiences, and we know that often a child who was abused by a parent who was they themselves abused. So the program takes a moment to study the parent's experiences as a child and address those so that we can cut off that intergenerational abuse. STARS also has reinforcement and follow-up care. And what this is it's an additional 6 weeks that's beyond the initial 18 weeks. And it's a weekly in-home visit that lasts 45 minutes. And during that time, a monitor comes in and just looks at parent-child interaction, examines the engagement, the communication, the safety, the health. And that is also backed up by a weekly phone call that's just a support check. Do you have everything you need? Are you food and housing secure? Do you have any questions or concerns about that week's parenting? STARS also provides social supports because the ecological theory tells us that child maltreatment is often the result of socioeconomic factors. Social supports help to reduce factors which can increase risk for child maltreatment. So we provide access to resources for stable, safe, and nurturing environments. Childcare, respite care. Does that parent just need a break? Are they job secure? Are they food secure? Are they housing secure? It's healthcare for individuals, for families, and the child. It is access to low-cost or no-cost clinics and other resources provided as needed. So program benefits, continuity of care. Cross and Tower tells us that wraparound services to create societal change are the key factor in ending child abuse. So the program hits hard on wraparound services. We focus on family preservation. We want to keep families together, and we want to do that before an issue actually begins. However, if abuse is already in progress, we want to stop it as early as possible. And then we have based our training on evidence-based care, which will be continuously changing as new research emerges. The design of the program significantly reduces child welfare costs as it's portable throughout the community. We don't have facility costs. We don't have those pen and pencil costs. What we have is a program which is generally supported by communities, especially those who are more prone to having child maltreatment. And we have donations of facilities, donations of copiers, donations of pens, pencils, workbooks, supported through grants that we hope to obtain. It is not only that, but the program is culturally competent. Before the program is implemented into any community, a needs assessment is performed so that we can understand those communities and how to address the needs of those parents. Another good thing that the program does is it really looks at the workforce and how the present state of child maltreatment within states is really causing workforce burnout. And we focus more on intervention or prevention at an early stage or the intervention at an early stage, so that workers are dealing with more positive outcomes, and just helps to reduce that workforce burnout.